eVersion app, Amplified Bible, Classic Edition, AMPC, Luke 20. One day, as Jesus was instructing the people in the temple porches and preaching the good news, the gospel, the chief priests and the scribes came up with the elders, members of the Sanhedrin, and said to him, "Tell us by what sort of authority you are doing these things. Or what is it who gave you this authority?" He replied to them, "I will also ask you a question now. Answer me. Was the baptism of John from heaven or from men?" And they argued and discussed it and reasoned together with themselves, saying, "If we reply from heaven, he will say, 'Why then did you not believe him?' But if we answer from men, all the people will stone us to death, for they are long since firmly convinced that John was a prophet." So they replied that they did not know from where it came. Then Jesus said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." Then he began to relate to the people this parable. The story of figure portrayed what he had to say. A man planted a vineyard and leased it to some vine dressers, and went into another country for a long stay. When the right season came, he sent a bond servant to the tenants that they might give him his part of the fruit of the vineyard. But the tenants beat, thrashed him, and sent him away empty-handed. And he sent still another servant, and they also beat, thrashed, and dishonored and insulted him disgracefully, and sent him away empty-handed. And he sent yet a third. This one they wounded and threw out of the vineyard. Then the owner of the vineyard said, "What shall I do? I will send my beloved son. It is probable that they will respect him." And when the tenants saw him, they argued among themselves, saying, "This is the heir. Let us kill him, so that the inheritance may be ours." So they drove him out of the vineyard and killed him. And then will the owner of the vineyard do to them? He will come and utterly put an end to those tenants, and will give the vineyard to others. When the chief priests and the scribes and the elders heard this, they said, "May it never be." But Jesus looked at them and said, "What then is the meaning of this that is written? The very stone which the builders reject has become the chief stone of the cornerstone. Everyone who falls on the stone will be broken in pieces, but upon whomever it falls, it will crush him, winnow him, and scatter him as dust." The scribes and the chief priests desired and tried to find a way to arrest him at that very hour, and they were afraid that the people they discerned that he had related this parable against them. So they watched for an opportunity to ensnare him and sent spies who pretended to be upright, honest, and sincere, that they might lay hold of something he might say, so as to turn over the control of the authority of the governor. They asked, "Teacher, we know that you speak and teach what is right, and you show no partiality to anyone, but teach the way of God honestly and the truth. It is lawful for us to give tribute to Caesar or not." But he recognized and understood their cunning and unscrupulous, and said to them, "Show me a denarius, a coin. Whose image and inscription does it have?" They answered, "Caesar's." He said to them, "Then render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and God the things that are God's." So they could not in presence of the people take hold of anything. He said to turn it against him. But marveling at his reply, they were silent. Also there came to him some Sadducees, those who say that there is no resurrection. And they asked him a question, saying, "Teacher, Moses wrote for us a law, that if a man's brother dies, leaving his wife and no children, the man shall take the woman and raise up offsprings for his brother. Now there was 7 brothers, and the first took a wife, and that died without having any children, and the second. And then the third took her, in like manner all 7, and they died, leaving no children. Last of all, the woman died also. Now in the resurrection, whose life will the woman be? For the 7 married her. And Jesus said to them, the people of this world and present age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy to gain that other world in that future age and to attain to the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage, for they cannot die again. But they are angel-like and equal to angels, and being sons and sharers of the resurrection, they are sons of God. But that the dead are raised from death, even Moses made known and showed in the passage concerning the burning bush, where he calls the Lord, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Now he is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. For to him all men are alive, whether in the body or out of it. And they are alive, not dead, unto him, in definite relationship to him. And some of the scribes replied, Teacher, you have spoken well and expertly, so that there is no room for blame. For they did not dare to question him further. But he asked them, How can people say that the Christ, the Messiah, the Anointed One, is David's son? For David himself says in the book of Psalms, the Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand, until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. So David calls him Lord. How then is he his son? And with the people listening, he said to his disciples, Beware of the scribes, who like to walk about in long robes and love to be saluted with honor, in spaces where people congregate and love the front and best seats in the synagogues, and places of distinctions of feasts, who make away with the devourer widows' houses, and covered up with pretense make long prayers. They will receive a greater condemnation, the heavier sentence, and the severer punishment.